There's nothing better than receiving poor feedback, said no one ever. Today's success principles about using feedback to your advantage. I had to look there because I was like, what is that again? So the gift of feedback, in my experience, is that it gives you the opportunity to grow. It gives you an opportunity to be better and do better. It gives you the opportunity to look at what you're doing and to tweak it. It gives you the opportunity to know that you're on the right track as well. And so whenever I've started on my journey of understanding feedback, being able to give feedback in a constructive way, I've always looked at it, after many years of really getting frustrated at it, by the way, I've looked at it since that period as a really valuable tool that helps me to serve better. Now, previous to this, I used to receive feedback that wasn't very helpful. So I had to learn the art of receiving feedback. So in today's video, it's all about feedback and how to take it and what to do with it, and then how to use it and transmute it into something really useful for you. So I've been a member of Toastmasters International for over 7 years now. And in my time there, I've learned how to not only give feedback to other members, but also to be able to receive it. And what I mean by receiving it is being able to take the information and transform it into something useful for me that's going to help me to grow as a speaker and leader. Now, sometimes feedback isn't equal. It's not all useful. And the reason why is because of the psychological distortion that happens when people give feedback. There's certain things that happen when people listen to you, and sometimes it gets changed in their minds. So what you've actually said, they've taken it their own way and given you feedback based on that. Sometimes people are not even listening to you. So when they're giving feedback, you'll see something on the feedback form that I used to receive, and it used to be like, was this person even listening to the speech? So the point of this is that feedback is a valuable tool, but it's also something you've got to take advantage of from a point of view of how do you analyze it to make it useful feedback for you. So useful feedback for you is when it helps you to grow. It might be slightly uncomfortable at first because maybe you're not used to it, but after a while, you'll learn to love and embrace feedback. You'll learn to absolutely adore feedback. And where feedback might be a bit vague initially, you're going to learn how to ask for specific feedback that's going to help you to understand and cultivate a culture in your own system where you get the feedback and it helps you to catapult and transform and to move forward with more ease than ever. So this success principle is like the rest of them. It's helpful if you use it. And so every time I used to go to Toastmasters, I would used to receive feedback slips for the roles I've undertaken, for the speeches I've done. And the slips would tell me things that was really well done and some things that needed some improvement. And I used to take them as challenges, and I learned over a period of time how to give feedback and then how to actually receive it. And I've done a whole course on that as well. But my point here is this. I'm going to show you a framework, a real quick framework, so that you're going to be able to take feedback and it's going to be able to help you. So this is more specifically if you're listening to a speech, but you can also do it for other things as well. So the first thing is COD. So it's content. So what's the content that's being feedback to you, given to you? Get the words out, Ruth Ellen. What is the feedback that is being given to you? What's the context? What's the context of the content? What is this? What's the setting? The next thing is organization. How is it organized? Is it organized enough in the way that you can understand the feedback? And D, delivery. Delivering in a way that it's got compassion and great tonality, and in a timely manner, in a manner that helps you and your learning style. So some people give feedback like verbally. That's verbally, by the way. And some people would prefer it written because when it's written, it's easier to properly digest. When it's probably given verbally, depending on your learning style, it might not necessarily go through, might not land. So content Organization and delivery is very important. It's how you learn to receive feedback, and knowing what your style is, so you can actually go back and say, look, I really appreciate if you give me some feedback on what went really well in maybe my presentation. Did you also like my organization? And did you appreciate my delivery? So you could do it in that context, or you could do it in the context of you've received feedback and you have to remember the content of the feedback. Like, what was the key takeaways? Then you think of the organization. What was the most helpful thing in that piece of feedback that you're going to take away from, which was the least helpful, and what do you need clarity on? So those are the ways you can organize it. And delivery. Was it delivered in a way that's helpful to you, your learning style? And was it helpful to you is it going to be helpful for you to perhaps have a conversation with somebody that gave you the feedback, so that you can understand a bit more, and so that moving forward, when it's delivered in the future, it's done in a way that suits your learning style. So that's the two ways you can use the COD. It's called the COD approach, right? The way that you can use it to deliver, the way you can use it to receive. It's all helpful. But the point is, feedback is such a valuable tool, and I'm going to just jump back into the book to get you some more specifics that's going to help you. So, I'm back. Wasn't that quick? I'm like Batman or Superman. Be willing to ask for feedback. So, sometimes we're saying, oh, was that good? You can ask for feedback that way, but we want specifics. We want things like, out of a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 was great and 1 was quite, need some work, what number would you rate my presentation? Or what number would you rate my talk? Or what number would you rate how helpful what I just delivered was for you? Then I rate it, and if it's anything less than a 7, even if it's less than anything less than, if it's an 8 and you're happy with an 8, if it's a 9, you're happy with a 9. If you're only going for 10s, then you say, so what would have made it a 10? And then from there, you've got the gold, you've got the information that you're going to take with you to help you move forward, because you can't do nothing with a 7, a 6, or a 5, or even a 9 if you don't know how to get to a 10. And remember, this is really subjective. It's based on that person's perception and their distortions, right? But it's also helpful, because if you start to see patterns asking different people, after a while you start to see patterns of perhaps you spoke a bit too fast, or perhaps you could have done something a bit more with your slides. Perhaps you could have delivered it using Facebook Lives instead of using a Zoom room. All of these things will be helpful, right? And so when you see the patterns of people saying the same thing again and again and again, that's when you got the information that's going to help you. I was going to use the word, and it's like, the word escapes me. So the point of this is, when you're asking for feedback, get very granular and don't let vagueness be your plagueness. Because sometimes we get information, we get feedback, and it's vague, and we're like, thank you, but we don't know what to do with it. So asking that question is, what would have made it a 10? Helps you to get more granular, helps you to get more specific. And then after that, you can see the patterns of what would have made it a 10. And if somebody said, oh, it was a 10, I said, great, what made it a 10? And then they keep, So they said, it was a 1. Oh, great. Oh, thanks for that. Really, so that's interesting. What would have made it a 10? And then the person will list it. So it's not about begrudging what a person's perception is of giving you the feedback for, their own thing that's happening with them. You're here to kind of step back outside of yourself almost, and be that observer, that witness that can take information without it feeling personal. It's not a personal attack. It's just information. And you know what? It's like food on a plate. There's lots of great food on the plate, and people can give you everything that they think that you need on the plate. But there might be some things that don't necessarily serve you, so you decide you just leave it, or you just dash it. Dash it, go away. You don't need it. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make me feel good right now, and I've got so many things to do, so I'm not going to do them. And so taking some things off the plate and don't serve you, or leaving it off, however you want to say it, the point is, you don't have to eat everything that people give you. You don't. And so feedback has changed the way I see things. And sometimes I used to take feedback from everybody. And I used to be like, I'm a quite sensitive person, or at least I was previously. And so every time somebody would say, I didn't really get it. Don't understand when you speak. And, kind things like that. Or, what a weird subject. Like, okay, thanks for that. All of those things, right? I used to be like, even like I went on a pitch once and I was talking about dyslexia, dyspraxia, and autism, some of the things that I want to do with my social enterprise from a previous lifetime now, it feels like. And the person was like, why can't you just do this for normal people? And I was like, I'm not gonna cry. Because it was feedback. It was not even feedback. It was a question, and it was a bit of a dick. But the point of this was, people are always got something to say, and they've always got something to give you. You don't have to take it. You don't always have to take the information. And sometimes it's, if you're feeling triggered by some of the things that are coming up, some of the feedback things that are coming up, perhaps this is a key time to take the trigger and learn to embrace the darkness so that you can show it the light. Because nothing should be triggering you. If somebody's got some feedback for you and it hits a raw nerve, then this is where you say thank you, because that's going to help to empower you. Because your triggers, which I teach you more of this in my unapologetically visible course, one-to-one program rather. Your triggers have so much great transformations in there. And so when you get triggered like that, it's a great opportunity to take the information, turn it into some transformation through implementation, by clearing it, by transmuting that energy into something that's more beneficial for you, and to really healing that scar, turn it into a wound, and so that it never triggers you again. And so that's what's important. And that's why triggers are important. And that's why feedback you get that does trigger you and stop you in your tracks. Some people have like stopped doing what they're doing. Like, people have left communities because they've got feedback they just didn't like. They've left because they felt offended. The power of offense. So we've got to remember that the feedback has power. If it triggers you, there's a great opportunity in there to heal those wounds. And I love the fact that there's so many great things about patterns in here as well. And like, sometimes we try to run away from our feedback. I mean, say, no, I don't want to hear it. And so you go away. But I always see feedback as a challenge. I always tell people, I challenge you to next time consider, because it's always good to rise to the occasion rather than scurry off and be like, nah, I'm not doing that. We're not doing that today. We're not. So I could talk about feedback all day long. I mean, I've built courses around feedback and how important it is. And I love the art of feedback, constructive feedback. But you know what? All feedback's feedback, because the triggers will teach you so much great lessons. So what to do when the feedback tells you you fail. Some of the things I'm going to share with you. So again, get the book. It's going to be much more beneficial than some of these. Some of the things I'm sharing with you are good and they're not in the book. But this helps you to solidify some of the teachings that I've been teaching over the last couple of weeks. So write down everything you learned from the experience. Write your insights, lessons down and file on computer, and call it insights and lessons. Lessons, people. It's good, right? And the thing is, the word failure, it's subjective, because there is no such thing as failure, only lessons. So if you acknowledge you did your best, you are compassionate towards yourself, and you learn to be resilient and bounce back like a ball, all of this feedback that you're getting will just help to really nourish your soul, really let you really fly instead of being weighed down by things that don't serve you. So refocus your vision is another tip. Incorporate your lessons learned, recommit to your original plan. Regroup, it's a good one. Spend time with loving friends and family and co-workers who can reaffirm your worth and your contribution. See, the thing is, you do not need validation from others. So when you're getting feedback, it's not about you getting validation from people outside. This is about you understanding that it's just feedback, and you validate yourself. You don't go outside for validation. That's the problem with feedback. Some people think that another person's opinion is more important than their own. How you see yourself is more important than how the other people see, how the outside world sees you, because how you see yourself, you're the person that's you spend the most time with yourself. So allowing somebody else to validate you with their opinion on what they've seen, like a little snippet, a showreel of your life, isn't on, my friend. And so this is not up for debate. Validation is not something you get externally. Validation is internal. And so if I tell you anything and you learn anything along these success principle videos, it's this. Feedback is information that helps to inform you of how you can improve. Now that could be improving your circle. It could be improving your resiliency skills. The point is, validation isn't from outside. It's from inside. And every day, you will validate yourself, knowing your worth, knowing that you've got a positive self-image, knowing that you are awesome and you have everything you need to do the mission you was given to in order to change the world for better. That's the way to say it. So this is today's about feedback. And so I love this chapter, this principle, and I want you to kind of, if you need to watch this again, let this be your mantra, where you're listening to this again and like, yes, I am worthy, and the feedback is not gonna, I'm gonna be solid like a tree. It's not gonna rock me when I get feedback. It's gonna help me to learn lessons, gain some insights, and really understand who I'm being in that moment and how to level up to my next level. So that's my, I don't know why I put my finger up like this. I was going to do something. That's my, all I'm going to say about feedback. I mean, I could talk about all day about feedback, but let's be real. It's already gone on for 17 minutes. If you haven't thumbs up this video, do thumbs it up. If you haven't subscribed, then do subscribe. And if you haven't commented, then do comment. You see how there's a theme here, there's a pattern. Like, comment, and subscribe. So that's all I need you to do. Obviously, there's some links below about unapologetically visible. You'll see my awesome sales page, which talks to you about the actual week by week 30-day intensive that you get working with me one-to-one, and how it's going to help you to really show up unapologetically, like in your business, to such an extent where you know your own power, you take your space, you speak your truth, you show up consistently, and you change the world and make an impact on the world because you are grounded in your mission, your purpose, and you've cleared all of those things that don't serve you, those beliefs, that energy that was in your energetic field that was never meant to be staying stuck in there. And you finally move from the 3D reality to the 5D reality, and you just completely help more people on this planet to get what they need to be the best version of themselves, while you're also being the best version of yourself. And that's awesome, right? So the link's below. I will be seeing you the same time, not the same time, but see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.